Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about craft beer and video games. I'm your host Adil, and this week I'm joined by Lucy.
Hi there.
And Ben.
Hello.
How are we all today?
Yeah,
Tired.
all right. Oh,
I'm okay.
you're the tired one today.
I mean, I'm sure you're way more tired generally, but
I'm always tired.
Yeah.
But that's just life now.
It is. I think just Thursday. It's like, why is it not Saturday yet?
Agreed.
Thursdays used to be really bad when I actually, went out into the actual world.
Mm.
This is why this podcast was like a saving grace on Thursdays, because I just used to pass out as soon as I got home from work, and it's like, oh, I'm not someone who can nap, and I just felt awful afterwards. So it's like, now it's just like, stay awake till tanked up, and it's all good. But yeah, working from home has completely eradicated that anyway. So.
You can just sleep whenever you like now. Doesn't
exactly. Matter. I spoilers, when we were going to record at 3:00, I looked at my phone and was like, it's about 20 past 2. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to shut my eyes. And then, woke up at just before 3.
Brilliant.
And it was one of those where it's like, how did I even fall asleep? It was, mouth wide open, dribbling, one of those kind of just passed out, unaware. But, yeah.
Nice.
Yes, that's my update, and that's all I have for this week. Bye.
Have you got a beer at least?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, let's jump straight into that. We can do beer and mild updates as we see fit.
I don't know if I've had it on the podcast before. I know I've definitely not had it in this size of a can. It's Intuition from Attic Brew Co. It's a 4.4% pale ale. It's our flagship beer now, is it? Okay. The culmination of our quest to produce a session strength beer that has the flavour and body to stand up to stronger counterparts. Hazy and juicy flavours of pineapple and ripe peaches with a touch of piffy bitterness on the finish. So yeah, I don't know if it's got oats in it. I don't know if it says the hops. Don't think it does, but yeah, it's pretty standard attic beer. It's like every time I go to the tap room or sit on tap and this is there, it's like, yeah, I'll have a pint of that.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Do they do many beers in little 330ml?
This is the first I've seen. I mean, and if it's their flagship beer, makes sense. Where was this from? Where did this beer come from?
Just appeared in the cupboard.
A beer.
If only. No, I got it from a specialty beer shop. It wasn't from Tesco or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, it's a great little. I mean, as they say on the tin, it's like you're still getting a lot of flavour, even if it's just 330 ml. So yeah, it's a good one to pick up.
Brilliant.
I think it's like £2.50.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess it's a smaller can. That still seems like a great deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, considering a pint at their brewery is probably, £5. I guess you're just about, breaking the odds there. So yeah, it's decent.
Good. Nice.
Solid. How about you, Ben?
So you and I went out for some beers the other day.
This is why I was like, we can do life updates at the same time as beers.
Yes. We actually got to meet up in person for a beer. And we went down to Good Chemistry Brewery because it was their birthday weekend for their 7th birthday, which means that we started this podcast the same year that Good Chemistry kicked up, 2015, which seems nuts.
Fuck off. 7 years?
I'm pretty sure we're 7 years as well.
I think you might be right, but that's weird. I'm not ready for it.
Well, in celebration, I'm going to drink one of their birthday beers. So they released and brewed 3 birthday beers: a 5% beer, 6% beer, and a 7% beer to mark their 5th, 6th, and 7th birthdays, because things like COVID have stopped them from having, open tap room, open brewery. The pub they have up in Redland hasn't been kind of open as well. So obviously during COVID, it's been open for a little while now, but they haven't had their birthday. So they tried to combine it all into one big thing. And I am going to drink their 6% beer, which is called Six States and is a New England IPA. I tried both the 50 Hertz, which is the 5% beer, and the beer that Adol's going to drink as well in a moment. This one, though, it's very hard to read. It's a lovely can. They've done this, like, it's not quite pearlescent, but they've done these nice color graded.
I would say it's like pastel gradient with silver text like cut into it. It's very, very pretty in person.
It is. Unfortunately, the silver text on this one, at least, is quite difficult to pick out unless you have the light in the right place. So this, about the beer itself, says Juice Bomb, Hazy Boy, Merc Bomb, a New England style IPA with Cryo Pop, Mosaic, Galaxy, and Citra. One of a trio of beers brewed to celebrate our 5th, 6th, and 7th birthday. The percentages, it's 92% hoppiness, 35% maltiness, 22% bitterness, and 55% sweetness. There is also, on the bottom, it doesn't tell me everything in it, but just malted barley, wheats, oats, maltodextrin, and yeast. It doesn't tell me exactly what the yeast is. But there we go. That's what I'm going to drink.
Nice. While you pour that, we can look at this yellowy orange pastel gradient can with silver text cut out. Surprising no one, perhaps, given that Ben already told us, it's from Good Chemistry. It is the Seven Goats Doppelbock. It is 7%. Oh, man. I wish you could see the sweat on this can. Origin strong and malty German style beer fermented with lager yeast. One of a trio of beers, blah blah. And then what I was looking for? Yes. So it's 17% hoppiness, 87% maltiness, 27% bitterness, and 67% sweetness. And it the theory is the wolf and the seven baby goats is one of the German fairy tales collected by the Brothers Grimm. Bock is German word for goat, hence Doppelbock. Although, if we're doing the maths, that doesn't work. The pairings are cake, candle, and party bags, and it has 25 IBU and 1080 and 1025 of your OG and FG, respectively. That's me rambling all of the text. I'm going to throw it back to you, Lucy, to tell us about that beer.
Oh yeah, it helped if I opened it.
What are you drinking? Hang on. Why saw you drinking a beer?
Yeah, was that a different beer?
It was. It was one that I had from left over from dinner. That's the Mad Squirrel Roadkill, which a few weeks ago, maybe.
Is it maybe not last week, the week before you had one of the Mad Squirrel beers? Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that one, but this one I'm a bit more of a fan of. But yeah, they're a where is it? Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's, yeah, I think that's what you mentioned last time. Yeah.
This pull tab is someone who has no fingernails. Bit difficult.
Get a teaspoon. Get a knife.
Yeah, I got the spoon that's usually on the trackpad on my work laptop. So hint for anyone out there. I've told 2 people this week they didn't know. It's like, if you just don't want it to go idle, spoon.
I had no idea.
Well, you actually have to do real work, so it's like it doesn't apply to you.
I don't have a trackpad either, so
yeah. But if you do, hint.
Exactly. Nice.
Don't tell them I sent you, but yeah.
It was Lucy.
Yeah. Really nice looking beer. It's thick in terms of its colour. Straw coloured. It's very light. Nice, probably about half a finger white head. It smells of like tropical fruits, probably a bit of mango. Maybe a hint of papaya. But yeah, it smells nice.
Sounds lush.
And yeah, like those oats just help give it some body. I mean, you can tell it's a very light beer. Light in terms of I'd still say it's light bodied, but just the presence of those oats just prevent it from feeling like really thin and watery, especially for 4.4%. Yeah, it's. I think it's because I just literally took a swig of the roadkill, but even so, still picking up on like the fruity flavors and stuff like that. It's not going to blow your head off. It's not juice bomb or anything like that. But it's a session strength beer. It's like what you expect. Like not so much fruit, but just a little hint, just a little It's got a bit of lemon. Yeah, it's got a bit. It's got a bit of lemon in it as well. Which is like interesting, but yeah, nothing amazing. But like getting this on draft pint of it, it's like you cannot complain.
Is it better on draft than from the can, which is quite often the case with a lot of beers?
Yeah, always. There isn't a massive drop off in terms of if you say like it's because I go there. Well, used to be often, not a lot recently, but it's like you get it even in like other pubs that I go to. It's like always see Attic, and it's like it's never going to compare to the draft. But it's like if can is your only means of getting Attic, because as far as I know, they probably don't really go much further than beyond the Midlands. Even when you see like on their Instagram, it's like, oh, we're travelling up to Leeds or something, like tap takeover at Leeds or something. I don't usually see that much from Attic in that terms of in that kind of outreach, because they've grown in the last few years, but they're not huge by any means. So, but yeah, it's a good beer. I think anything Attic puts out is pretty damn good. I mean, and if this is like something that they can start shipping, a bit further afield, this is a good, foot to put forward, to be honest. It's especially for a session strength beer, it's like gives you what you want, Yeah. It's a quality
Excellent
beer, so yeah. There's
Nice.
not much more to say beyond that,
Okay.
And Ben,
Yes, I'm just pouring a little bit more into my glass so you can see it, because I've taken a big old swig. It's maybe a little more yellow than the camera presents it. That's looking quite orange on camera, but definitely a little more yellow, a little deeper as well. Didn't pour with much head. It wasn't very carbonated when it kind of came out of the can. Did crack with a nice carbonation, but that all seemed to come out with that opening. There wasn't a huge amount kind of on the pour. It's got a very light nose, and it's very, very sweet. I know they said on the percentages that Good Chem give us, sweetness was up to 55%. This has almost got a bit of a candy sweetness to it.
Apparently it'll pair well with my beer.
It will. I didn't tell you the theory on this one, did I? Which is very simply, there are 6 states which make up the region in the USA known as New England. That's it.
Can we
it makes
name
sense.
them? Maryland.
Maine.
Maine, Massachusetts.
Does New York State count as a state which makes up part of New England?
Presumably with the York.
Or is it... Because is New England just the coastal... Connecticut? Yeah, they just the coastal states? We'll massively go off on a tangent here. No games this week, friends. Just chat about states in America.
We're doing
in the United
quiz.
States.
I mean, now I must know.
Just pub quiz, isn't it? This week.
I'm guessing. Can I guess?
Yeah. I was just bringing it up so that we.
Connecticut. Let's go. Maine, as you said.
Yep.
Maryland.
Maryland.
Okay, Massachusetts then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania can't be one.
No, too far.
So where's Baltimore?
Maryland.
Maryland. Okay.
Near Washington D.C.
Bit further south.
Yeah. I've already dragged this on far too long, so...
What do we have? We got three. We got 3.
Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont.
Ah,
yes,
okay.
the little ones. Yeah.
I never think about Rhode Island being its own state.
Well, Peter Griffin would be angry at you.
I just... like...
Welcome to Tank Dub, home of topical references.
How come New York isn't like part of New England then?
It's not on the coast though, is it? The state of New York.
Well,
Yeah.
New York City is.
Is it?
Well, New
York City.
not a lot of it is. Not a lot of New York State is on the coast, I don't think, because then... I don't know. Like, I guess it's only because New Jersey's there on the coast.
Is New York in New York State, or is it its
New York's
own?
In New York
like
State.
it is in New
It's
York
just
State. Is
like-
it? Okay, it's not
like
its own
the Florida
place.
of New York. It's just a little wang hanging at the bottom, you know. So it's just like, I bet our American listeners are just like,
I love it.
I
That's
don't
exactly-
know where New York is either because they
Yeah.
have poor geography. They don't even know their own country, let alone anywhere else. So
Sorry, US.
sorry, Americans.
listeners.
Yeah.
I've
We love
lost
you,
track.
really.
Ben, did you finish telling us about your beer?
No,
Yeah, I
I'll
didn't
tell you.
think so.
I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you about it.
I was like, I'm
It's
pretty
very
sure we
smooth.
almost got to you starting to tell us about it, and
Mm.
then we got stuck at the label. Ironically,
Yes,
after the
yes.
label segment, we're doing great.
It's very
Sidetrack
smooth,
City.
very soft. Has a little bit of a tropical hit. It's much more, I'd say, not quite peachy, but it's on that softer stone fruit side as well. And that's absolutely where that sweetness is coming from. In the flavour, at least, it's not like a candy sweetness. It's not quite as, I wouldn't say artificial on the nose, but it's definitely got like a more of a sweetness to it, like a candy, as I said, candy sweetness to it, rather than it being a fruit kind of sweetness. It's not a tropical fruit sweetness on that nose. And it definitely is more peach. Maybe it's a little softer and it's a bit sort of, yeah, it's more peach than apricot, I think, as well. So but it's in that realm of sort of like soft stone fruits. And there's again, a hint of bitterness in there just towards the end. It almost has it doesn't quite sour, but it's got this very slight kind of like shift into a little bit more of like a grassy kind of note towards the end. It's not quite earthy, it doesn't sour, but it definitely picks up something else, which is just a little bit more kind of chewy slightly. And I think some of that comes from the dryness of it as well. It dries quite quickly. So suddenly it dries. There's this then like little kind of grassy note which kicks up, gives it just a touch of bitterness, maybe just a little bit of an earthy note in there. But it's very, very soft and it's very easy to drink. I mean, it's going to be gone so quickly because it's just so super soft. That's the biggest takeaway from this. Like the flavor's like, yeah, okay, it's a nice flavor, but it is just really light and really soft.
So it said 92% hoppiness, right?
It did,
Yeah.
So are you getting that much hops, or?
I think it's that kind of. I think it's that big flavor, right? It's that big. So the flavor itself, when I'm saying it's soft stone fruit flavors, it is still a very big flavor. It absolutely is kind of all encompassing, and it is like it hits you, it completely takes over your tongue.
Okay.
It's a big flavor, so there is a big hoppiness factor to it. It's just the way that these hops have been kind of paired. I can't remember exactly what they were. Mosaic, Cryopop, Mosaic, Galaxy, and Citra.
Yeah, because what was it, like 20%, 22% bitterness? I was thinking, if it had a bit of a disconnect in my brain. It's like, how do you get that much hoppiness and so little bitterness? But
yeah, I think it's the hoppiness.
It's chemistry.
Is exactly, it is chemistry. Yeah. it's just picking up that big flavor. You know, that huge sort of flavor that it's got to it. So yeah, very nice.
Nice. Sounds great.
Good.
Why don't I tell you about this lovely beer? It poured with a bit of head, but that, much like Ben's, immediately dissipated. But it is this lovely sort of lighter than cola, somewhere between maple syrup and cola in its like translucency.
It's a bit reddish, like maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Like cola's got that same sort of red vibe. The nose is excellent. It's got this lovely, sweet, malty roundedness. No hint of like coffee or anything. Just much more like the deep sweet malts.
Any fruits you picking up on?
Like dried fruit, like getting like kind of
fruit,
like a little maybe date or raisin. The fucking cat's right outside the door. After
Yeah, I can hear as well.
I let him out because I was like, I can hear when Discord failed to cut him out off of the audio. he's very confused because of all the workmen in the kitchen stuff.
Yeah.
So like sometimes the door is closed and he can't get out or in. And now he's just like, I don't know. I just want to figure out how to make the door work. It's like, it's me. It's always been me. No, I'm busy. Anyway. Oh, that's rich.
Oh, really? Like, I'm really intrigued by this. Like, no, just in terms of like, I'm really intrigued. Like, is this going to be like a really good Bach Doppelbock? Is it like, because I think it's such a hard style to do and nail. Like, has to be just thick enough. Like,
I was just saying. So why I said it was rich was because I think they've nailed the viscosity. And it's clinging immediately to the tongue, but there's a bit of almost like a tartness to it. It's like a little bit of a soury feel. It's probably from the yeast, I'm guessing. It's just more prevalent than I would normally think of in a Doppelbock. Such that, of course, the primary like taste is those big round malty flavors, but like this sort of little bit of a bite almost from this tartness is very noticeable in a way that I wasn't expecting. So as soon as I said it was rich, it was because I got that hit of the malts. Again, much more like chocolatey on the way to milk chocolate than like dark, and like almost no like strong roasted character. And then this like slightly sour sort of tang came in, and I was like, oh, what is that? Which is really interesting. I'm not saying it's bad by any stretch, but it is not a quintessential Doppelbock because of that. It's very interesting, though. I'm curious how it'll develop once I sort of get acclimatized to both the regular Doppelbock flavors and it.
Yeah. Gosh, it's been so long since I've had like proper Belgian.
I will say that
beers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say that is helping bring out a sweetness and helping notice, despite that sort of the thickness, that there are bubbles like that there is a nice balancing flavor that yeah. I mean, I'm really liking it. It is not quite as so it's got the right viscosity, but I think the flavor isn't quite as boisterous as you would want from this type of beer. I mean, it's a good example in that you could have it not like at any time and made in the summer in the middle of a heat wave. That's not a bad thing. Heat wave's over. They're like, it's not quite. It doesn't quite have that like oomph in the flavor. The malts are just not quite like all enveloping in the way that one would hope for this type. Ben, you had this at the place. On tap, though, right? So
yeah. I was going to ask you as well, because you've now tried all three beers as well, because you had the 6 states, and we both had the 50 hertz.
Yeah.
I then, after our visit over the last couple of days, I drank the other beers from the box that we brought, so the ones that I'd already had, the 50 hertz and the Doppelbock, and I think the Doppelbock is my favourite. I've still got another can of the 6 states to drink, and the rest of this one. But I really like the Doppelbock, especially, I think, there, kind of on tap. It is a big flavour. It's very malty, and I just remember this lovely raisin note to it. Super, super deep. And I think it's that viscosity is its kind of selling point as well. It's a very, very nice beer. I think that was out of these 3 is my favourite from the birthday beers.
I can see that. Like I said, it. Do you get what I'm saying about like it not being quite the full-bodied experience, so to speak?
Yeah, it's I get that.
7%, isn't it?
Yeah, 7%. Oh, it doesn't taste like 7%. To be fair,
I want something that like a bit more boisterous, you know, like something like that.
I think
8, 9,
and
13.
I think you'd get what you're talking about if it was that bigger percentage. If it was up towards 9, if it was even higher, if it was at 11 or something that. Yeah. I think it's that kind of alcohol burn, that warming note that maybe you're kind of just looking for as well, that maybe doesn't quite come over in something that's a little bit lighter than, say, 9 or lower. So
I'm wondering if I'm picking up on the yeast and that tanginess because it's not being offset by the extra sweetness that higher ABV usually comes with. Like, so it's not like it's a tart beer. It's just like, oh, there's a note that I don't normally associate with this, and I wonder if it's just because it has these lovely malty notes, and it edges towards sweet, but it's not as sweet. And I think that's like you're pointing up, and I think it's just because I'm used to higher ABV and the associated sweetness that comes with that. That sort of the sickly sweet 11%. Oh, but it's okay because I'm also burning. Balance isn't there, and so that might be why I'm noticing that. Again, it's really good. And actually at 7%, and with that slightly less boisterous nature, it's very drinkable.
Yeah.
And like I said, you could have this earlier in the day, even, obviously maybe not in the middle of the heat wave, but like normally you wouldn't really have a Doppelbock at the height of summer. So that's like a plus, even though it's not what I expect. But so far, especially now that I'm getting used to things, and like I said, that tart note is much weaker few sips in. And again, I think it was mostly because I was looking for sweet and found not sweet that sort of peaked on me. It's very good. I will say, I think I liked the 6 States quite a bit in the pub as well. But it was like, this is a non-standard style for Bristol in general and Good Chemistry. The NEPA's, it's a NEPA. Like, it's not bad, but it's just like, it's a thing that I taste like a Good Chemistry beer. I'm happy with it. 6%, great. But this is very interesting and also very good.
Excuse my ignorance, because don't get a lot of Good Chemistry up here. Do they I don't think I've ever had like a
Good dark.
Strong in terms of like ABV beer from them.
I don't think they really do big ABVs.
They do the Kokomo Weekend, which is
that's
like
the only
8%, I think. And they may have done another couple, but a lot of the times, a lot of their beers are that lower end. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, everyone's got their niche and everything, but it'd be interesting to see if they could, make some bigger beers. Because it's like, I mean, to be honest, like only when I see them, I always see them in the big bowls. So maybe that doesn't exactly translate to doing a 9% beer or something like that. So yeah, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah, the one problem with the Kokomo Weekend, which is 7, I think, same as this.
Oh, okay.
Is that because they make the weekday, most pubs just have the weekday. Because it'll sell more easily, and it's very good. I think that's a really good example of making
that's the one that's
a lighter.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if it's a name, but that's the one that stands out to me when I ever think of Good Chemistry. So
yeah. The weekday is just like a sessionable version of weekend, and it tastes almost like very close. Obviously, you don't quite get that 7% hit, and it's a bit thinner in the mouthfeel, but all of the other taste hits are there. It's such a well-made session version of a beer that was very successful. I think that was the ordering they did it in. But anyways, they're both very good, and they fit their purposes. Excellent.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Good Chemistry.
Yes.
Hooray!
Well done.
I mean, they survived the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not every brewery did.
No.
I'm not hosting, am I? I was going to launch this into the next segment.
I was gonna let you. So I have a small game to talk about, but I'm happy to wait. Oh wait, no, I can't. I had to say the thing. I was being very good and not saying this earlier, because I did my old habit when I sat down at the computer after grabbing my beers, which is like open the standard tabs, like my personal mail, my Gmail, Messenger, Facebook, Twitter, and then Instagram, and then immediately close all of them because nothing's changed. However, one thing had changed because I hadn't really checked my personal mail in a minute, and I got something from. Let me. What is it? It's
Are you the inheritor, the beneficiary?
No,
of
it says hello,
the Nigerian prince.
I wish it's even better.
Real rich.
It's even better and rarer, and possibly still a scam. Hello, the Omniarch. Your Steam Deck is now available. Complete your purchase. Press this button. Complete your purchase before your reservation expires on the 21st of August at 9:28 a.m. or we'll give it to someone else. So I have this awkward...
Hold on. You're still within the time to
Yeah,
do
they sent it
right?
today. It's the 18th.
Because that would have been the most ideal thing.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just the fact that is the case makes
almost
it
had a
more
heart attack.
comical that I have been undiagnosed with my ADHD for the first 38 years of my life. Yeah. So I guess that'll be shipped here.
It'll probably be there by next week.
Was it that
Well,
quick
not
for you?
by next week. Next week. Yeah, mine was. I think I got the email on the Monday, and I think it was there either the Thursday or the Friday that week.
Oh, wow.
They're very quick in that sense. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
cool.
that's great.
Mhm.
It's money.
I think they've literally just shipped them to over here. I think it was somewhere in Europe. And I was like,
Oh, that makes tons of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, oh.
I did
Brexit,
see
Don't screw me over again. But no,
Yeah.
they've just come out and said that they're now available through a certain distributor in several East Asian countries, haven't they, as well? South Korea, Japan, and
Right,
a
yeah.
few others as well, because they've got a distributor over there. So essentially, they've just gone, here's 1 million units.
Mhm.
Distribute them, please.
Oh, I'm
Um,
so excited for you.
Oh, I'm glad
more
I logged
excited
on
than I
to.
was for my own.
I'm glad I logged on to
Because you've been waiting
Steam.
You two
longer.
won't even get out of bed now. That's it.
I
It'll
mean-
be done.
Why?
Yeah.
Who needs to get?
So
out of bed?
I logged on to Steam, and then I realized, I have to check where I can come up where I need to dig the 350 pounds from. But
Get an advance.
Steam,
salary.
the website, because I clicked the link and went through, I had to log in, use my Steam card, and then it says, you have an account information. I was like, oh, fuck, have I been compromised? Is this all a sham? And it was like, no, your Steam Deck is ready, but held for only 2 days. Complete your purchase before 21st of August at 5:28 p.m.
Oh,
I am going to make sure
I think
you do it as soon as
I'm
we finish this call.
I'm gonna do it like after we're done. Yeah, I've been waiting a while. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
'cause-
put it off. I'm just now confused. I'm assuming that Steam, the website, knows I'm here, and Steam, the email, thinks I'm in America, and that's why it's the same minute. but
right, yes,
8 hours apart?
Yes, yeah.
But like your
Well,
emails should not be giving it in Pacific Standard Time. It should be giving it in the time zone that the account is based in, or
Hmm.
you say Pacific Standard Time, especially when it's a 2-day window, because 8 hours.
Mm.
Luckily, at
Yeah.
least for me, it's the right way, so I'm gaining time.
Yeah.
But like, fuck off. It also explains why I didn't see this email until.
Yeah, it is such a quick turnaround where you have to get that done. It's like, I think that, I mean, there's definitely people who have missed out, but I think people who are just like, I remember going on like a Twitch stream where this guy was literally working out days in terms of like how many seconds after the pre-order opens and when you'd get your thingy.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was-
those.
I
crazy
almost-
people.
I almost went down that rabbit hole, and literally as soon as I started watching that stream, it was like a miracle, and I just got my email. So I think Valve know that we're absolute nerds, and we're just looking, like checking refresh.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I received maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago now. So it was roughly around the same week that Indy was born. A second email from PlayStation to say, "Hey, we officially have a console ready for you. If you would like to purchase one." And I had one before and didn't realize because I suddenly saw that it was in my
Spam.
junk mail, but to an email address that's associated with my second account. So because of the way that PlayStation used to do stuff, my main account was a sub account of my brother's account. This
I
is
remember
back in the
this.
back in the PS3 days, right?
God.
I couldn't ever upgrade that account, so I had to make a new account and still play on my sub account, or what my main kind of was. But I had another account where I made all of my purchases through and things like that. And that is the email address to which they had sent this, which went into the spam, and it meant that I'd missed the window like 6 months ago, right? They sent another one, and I caught it in the spam, and I'm like, just had a fucking baby. This is the worst possible time you could ever have sent me this email to buy a PlayStation 5. Like, I'm sat there going, I could absolutely buy a PlayStation 5. I don't think Kim would be very happy if I bought a PlayStation 5.
Just swap.
She suddenly looks under the telly like, why can't we watch Disney on whatever this giant box is underneath the telly? I'm like, I don't know. It's all changed. It's completely different. Who knows?
You deleted Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, well,
I don't think it's appropriate.
PS5.
I think it's appropriate for the children. It's fine.
I mean, give it it's 12 quid a month? So how many years of
Disney?
How many years of Disney
Is that
Plus
how
do you
much
have
it
to
is?
sacrifice to get your PlayStation 5 and bounce the books?
Yes, exactly.
Is that how much Disney Plus is?
I have no
don't
fucking
know.
No, I think it's less than that. I think it's like £8.
£8.
It might not even be that. It might be £6.
What?
It might be £6.
It's because I'm a login thief and I don't pay for any of these things. So I'm like, what? It's not free?
Yeah, I think it's. I think it started out at £6. Maybe it is a little bit more now. But and I think saying that, I think they have just released or are about to just release the Disney Plus app on PlayStation 5 and a few other kind of TV-ish sorts of things. Yeah, it didn't come out.
Xbox for.
Well, it's been on. It's on the PlayStation. It's on PlayStation 4. Has been since it released. It's just not on PlayStation 5.
You see, this is why it's a nightmare, man.
Yeah.
Did they get folders yet?
I think that's just come in. Yeah. I know. It's a pain. It's one of those where, again,
good thing Xbox did. I mean, I'm sure they did other good things, but it's like, just keep the UI.
That's it, the only thing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, probably the only good thing, you know? I can't think of anything else. So it's like, at least they did one good. And the controllers. It's like, everything just carries over. Because, like, for God's sake.
Yeah. But the point of that was just, companies and their emails, they just, like, you've got 30 seconds to purchase it. Like, what? But this came through 5 days ago. What are you talking about? It's so easy, I think, when you sign up to these kinds of things, just because it's so nebulous about when you actually might receive it. It's not, hey, we'll let you know within this time period, so keep an eye out. It's just, cool, thanks for registering your interest, or some bullshit like that, you know.
You can just spin it to him saying, look, I've just bought real estate for Indy because it's big enough for her to live in.
Look,
the skyscraper. I bought a skyscraper for my child.
Energy prices are going up, and so if I replace a PS4 with a PS5, we don't have to use the radiator in that room.
Exactly, it's more energy efficient to just sit
the
around
lights.
the PlayStation.
Yeah, no, it's just you're gonna watch a movie anyway. Now you can watch the movie and heat the room.
Yeah, not so good now when it's so warm, but in the winter, absolutely.
Yeah. And we don't need AC because it'll literally block out the sun, so it's all right. Have they not made that thing smaller?
There's got to be a revision coming.
It has to be.
You would think there's a revision around the corner. How long's it been out? 1.5 years? 2 years nearly?
Hasn't it?
I mean, when you say out, do you mean how long have the ostensible beta testers who paid a lot of money to be first in line had it? Or do you mean how long has it been released as a purchasable consumer product? Because I hate to break it to you, it's not yet released.
Yeah.
Seems a bit raw.
Yeah.
I'm going to earn 41,000 Steam points. Also, what the fuck is a Steam point?
It's rubbish. You just
doesn't work the same as it used to.
Avatars.
Backgrounds.
Yeah. And when someone puts a helpful answer on like a forum, I give them a little fist bump, and that costs like 200 points, because that's the only way I can seem to spend my similar probably 41,000 Steam points.
Oh, fucking. Sorry. I'm supposed to be hosting this, and now I'm just buying a Steam Deck on the air.
I feel more comfortable seeing you do it than reminding
we know
you
you've done it
afterwards.
now. Yes, exactly.
Stupid HSBC is not convinced I'm buying it, so I have to log in with biometrics on an app to authorize a credit card payment. Oh, look!
Oh, I know.
And so the worst part about this,
the
worst part about this is you get the pop-up on your browser and it says, you need to do this. So you open up the app and then you say, oh, right, I need to click the thing on the page saying use the app. And then it won't send the bloop. You have to click it, then open the app. Otherwise, the wires get crossed.
If the app's open already, it doesn't like it. Yeah, I've done that before.
Almost there.
Sounds like an iPhone. It sounds really bad in that sense. Where it's like, I just want to open YouTube in the YouTube
Oh,
app.
this is
It's
hilarious.
installed.
Not
Not in Safari, where I have to log in.
Mhm.
And then when I have to log in, it's like, would you like to open in the app? It's like, yes, that's how I wanted to. And then you open it up in the app, it's like, well, it's just on the front page. YouTube now. I didn't go to it.
So
iPhone's
what
crap,
is
man.
darling is no matter what Valve does, that's great. They're still Valve because I
Yeah.
get the generic "thank you for purchasing" screen, and then it goes, "Want to remotely install your new games? Click this link." It's like, oh really? I can click this link, and then you'll install a Steam Deck into my PC. I have to click the link. Anyway,
Click the link and see what happens.
yeah.
Look, this will be you, Adil.
Hey,
Oh,
it
look,
is me.
It is him. It is
Wow,
him.
that is really reflective.
Yeah, and this isn't even like the good screen. No, not you, Ben. You're not part of the club. It's your PlayStation. What is this?
No, but not
1995.
Not even with my PlayStation. I haven't
With
bought
your
one.
lack of a PlayStation. Look,
True.
your lack of a PlayStation was less cool and nerdy than my previous lack of a Steam Deck. I was lacking the right thing.
To be fair, oh no, there's God of War, but that's coming out on PlayStation 4, isn't it? And you
Oh,
had,
is it?
Is it?
yeah,
Oh.
Oh, I thought they. Oh, yeah, they caved, didn't they?
yeah. So
'Cause
I'm
originally
thinking,
it was
like,
gonna not,
You got
right?
on all right with Horizon, didn't you? So I'm thinking,
Yeah, absolutely. Horizon ran really
Yeah.
well.
hmm So I'm thinking maybe like after God of War, whatever's coming next, maybe better time to.
And
I don't
then
think you'd be missing out much.
no,
at this
and,
point,
and
yeah.
and then they potentially might say, "Oh yeah, we have revised the hardware. Here is a slim version or a
Yeah.
another version, but it's not going to be out for the next year." So again, you wait for another year potentially for that to release because again, there might be more chips and they could produce some more. But it's at this point, this generation, this console generation, like I'm just playing everything on PC now.
Yeah.
I'm just
That Miles
You know,
Morales comes out on PC soon, and given the Spider-Man remastered one, people say it's good on Steam Deck.
Ooh.
I think I'll pick it up. Yeah, because
yeah, lots of you can get some insane. You can play as Kingpin basically. People have modded
yeah.
in.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Kingpin
yeah,
as-
from what I've
as
heard
a
is the
Spider-Man
mods are
skin, like,
great
yeah.
in Spider-Man.
Mhm.
I mean, this is what I've been saying for years.
Yeah.
I mean, I played a very different version of Skyrim than you guys, and that version was making weird, dumb other versions of Skyrim over and over. And when I got my 1080 back in the day, I was like, oh, I'm not going to play this game anymore. I'm just going to play the game of how pretty can I make this without crashing my computer? The amount of
We do
times
not
I saw
mention
that
Skyrim
fucking
on this
beginning
podcast.
intro scene because I kept
Yeah.
having to restart the game.
Dragon.
But also,
How good is this dragon gonna look if I just turn a few knobs?
oh no, I think
Aw.
the one mod that sort of stayed through most of, even when I was trying to make it pretty, was the Thomas the Tank Engine and his friend's replacement for all of the dragons. Which, if you haven't done, you really should, because it's not just a reskin. All of their roars are replaced with their character accurate toots.
Nice.
So it's train whistles.
That is incredible!
Yeah, it's a fucking
This is-
great mod. Yeah.
You've sold me now.
And this was back in what, 2016, 2015, 2014, 2015.
better now.
Yeah, anyway. I think it's exactly the same. I think not much has changed on that particular mod. Although you never know. Anyways,
Yeah.
so we still haven't talked about a game. Does anyone want to talk about a game? I had originally said, "Oh, someone say a thing," and then I said, "No, I want to say a thing." I am now ceding the floor.
No, I've played nothing.
Yeah, just more into the reach for me. I've started doing re-rolls of like, it just picks a just random squad where it's like, okay, all these different classes, and it's like, the game's infinitely replayable, hence why I've been playing it so much, but yeah, that's it. Still haven't finished Stray. I'll hopefully do that this week, so.
Yeah, I was hoping to do that today, and then I realized I had a long overdue game that poor Ben's been badgered by a PR person for a while. I also want, so I haven't finished Stray, but I think that'll be my only gaming the next week while I deal with life admin.
It's such a relaxing game, so it's just like,
Mm.
even when you're not feeling anything, it's just like, because I've been playing Into the Reach for relaxation, it's like, Stray's pretty much hitting those same notes, so.
After you talked about Another Breach even briefly, last week. I've installed it on my phone because I have a phone that can play it, and then I forgot I did because I didn't put it in a place where I can find it. Because like I have been using the Action Launcher on Android for ages, which basically like you swipe left and you get the whole list of apps, but then on the swipe right you have your own grid, and
Right.
you can have a bunch of like sub things. So all my photography apps are like in this
Right.
thing.
Oh.
And so yes, theoretically I could swipe left, which mostly I do because it's the fastest way to get a list of all the apps for the not my fast ones, but also so that I don't have to deal with the Google page that they fucking push on you.
Yeah.
I just don't have that Google articles thing nonsense because I've replaced it with the page of apps. And there's a couple other things, but like, I didn't. If I don't know about it, I'm not going to go to the list of apps, and so I didn't add it to my like gamey folder on the other thing, like in the drawers. And so I just literally remembered when you said it. I'm like, oh yeah, I have that on my phone because I still think of it as a PC game.
It generally works. Like the social media apps, I just put them in a folder on like the fourth screen of that folder, and it's like I don't look at them. It's just so easy to cut those things out of your life. But put Into the Breach on the main page, like front.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it like out of a tiny corner. So the same thing happened to me with Point P. Is I like installed it and then played it, enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't like for me, it wasn't like change the world, but it was like, oh, this is fun. I could get into this, and then forgot it was anywhere because there's too many things on the phone by default. I wish you could hide all that, like the fact that there's like the Play Store, the Play Games, the Play Music, the blah. Oh, I mean on the overall list, right? So if I haven't put it somewhere special, I'm never going to find it because the list is full of all this faff.
Yep.
And they can't get rid of it. It's like I'm never going to use Google Music.
Just
and if I do, I can install. You can't delete it though.
Oh, damn. Even on iPhone, you can delete their main apps, like most of them. And if you can't, just stick them in a folder on the fourth page.
Yeah, I used to do that. I used to do that when I had my iPhone. I would like only. I had to have a page that was one.
Stocks. Who do you think I am?
No.
I'm an investor, a well put together investor.
Oh, that's the best part about Apple. It's like it's like a default app, stocks. It's like
weather. I don't go outside. What's this? iTunes. Who's this hippity hoppy person who's been rapping to the kids lately? I don't know. I'm over 30.
Anyway.
Yes, affogato.
Yeah.
Is it about coffee?
Sort of. So it's let me bring it up on the Steam so that
I genuinely don't know what this game is.
It was it's not a big developer.
Okay.
Oh, actually.
It comes up with the liqueur.
It's sorry, I thought I had Steam open, but I didn't
Affogato combines
there we go.
RPG and reversed tower defense elements. You'll play as the titular Affogato, a sorceress managing a cafe in a new town. Meet all kinds of customers, hear their stories, and travel into their minds to defeat their inner demons. Experience the city life both everyday and magical.
That's a description of the game that isn't inaccurate, but I don't think it paints the best picture. So I think the key here is that it's very anime-esque in its aesthetic and its approach. So like you literally start the game and anime girl is talking to you and then it's like, and you're like, what's going on? Because you've lost your memory briefly or something, because not only is that a trope in video games, it's a trope in anime. And it's like, oh, sure, yeah, you're doing both, so why not just do that trope? But that's fine. I think that's not a great thing because you sort of never... the point is, you forget some things when you go into the mind labyrinths, is the point. And it's like, okay, that seems to be the only moment of forgetfulness I've encountered in my first hour and a half of the game. I think you just could have written a better intro. If I'm perfectly honest. But you're not playing this game for, like...
For the story.
At least for really tight writing. I think there's an interesting story going on. Basically... You're a witch in a city, you run a coffee shop, and the very beginnings of the game. So then it turns out the city has its resident witch, and in order to stay, you told them you do 3 tasks, because video games 3. And your first task is investigating students who are falling unconscious in school, and you can either go to the hospital first or the school first. I went to the hospital, played a couple levels, and then that was it. You have only a few days to go, so like everything you do takes some time. So when I went to the hospital, did the 2 levels, and left the hospital, immediately took me home and fast forwarded me to the end of the day. So it's very clear that like you could only fuck about on one day because you have a 3-day timeline. There's some weird translation issues, which are a bit unfortunate, but it's fine.
Early access, right? It says planned release 2023.
Yeah. This was a demo.
Okay.
It's fine. It's just
Demo,
was a bit
yeah,
confusing
fine.
at times. But what? So like there's clearly more to the coffee shop bit. You like have to figure out the machine and look up recipes and make coffee. So clearly working a shift is going to be a thing. But right now I only made a coffee for one person as a tutorial on how the coffee works. But then I wasn't running my shop. I was investigating at the hospital, so I didn't get to do anything with that. But there's also stores you can go to that up your stats. Like you have a courage stat, which when you go to the Chinese food, it goes up. There's a beauty stat, which if you go to the hairdresser, it goes up. I don't know what they mean really, because they aren't really impactful on the main sort of. So why I'm mentioning this is because I think the managing the cafe / city part is like half the gameplay. Kind of like what was that, Moonlighter? In the sense of that game was like a dungeon crawler, but also a large chunk of that game was actually not in the dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with more recently, Cult of the Lamb seems to have a gameplay loop, but really people, like a lot of the fun and interesting stuff is happening in the city sim part, right?
Yep.
It's like there's some gameplay there, and also all of the plot happens there, and it's clearly visual novelly inspired in the same sort of tropes and style and whatever. I don't know how far it'll go down that path, but it just presents that way. And then, so the levels are the labyrinths of people's brains. The idea is demons have invaded a human, and you've got essentially riffs on streets and parking garages with a map of tiles, like squares, and you're at like sort of ISO times ISO, if that makes sense. So the camera's at like above and over the shoulder. But then so is the grid. So imagine the grid, the plane isn't flat, it's kind of also at an angle, and the camera is at the same relative angle that normally isometric happens. So it's just a little harder to see. But you basically, why it's a reverse tower defense game is because you need to get to the end of the map. Usually there's a boss you have to kill. So basically, the enemies are the tower defense, and you're the wave of bad guy, because you're going through the map destroying like enemies which are just sitting in places, right? They don't move, and some of them have power-ups which can be like a key to unlock part of the map, or it could just be mana essentially to help rebuy your dead characters because they have a rebuy cost that's much higher, or cast new ones, which are based on cards because everything's cards, but it could be anything. So you sort of trundle about, and then there are tiles that are directional. So you can pick which way basically your guys just follow a path, right? And so you can loop them around to make sure something dies, or if they have like mana, you don't want to just skip them by, or you loop them around for some other reason. Or you open up a path that has a special item, but that will have extra enemies. So you have to pick: do you just like rush to the end of the level, or do you try and get the thing that will give you bonuses, presumably to upgrade your characters?
Wow.
And that's like the loop. The loop is just you start with 1 or 2 cards, and you by like the third round you have 4. And they're basically like, your main thing is called strength, and they have a medium HP pool and the high attack and virtually no defense. But then the second card you get when you get them both at the same time is like a 0 attack tank, which costs more than strength is 2, it's 4. You usually start around with 3, right. And the idea is like you can kill enemies for more mana. So if strength has to sort of face roll into an enemy, that will allow you to cast the tank, which will get hurt less because it has actual defense stats, but also has a big HP pool. And then figure out how to get the other guys out later, kind of thing. And that's like the loop. There's a healing, and then there's the hermit who every so often they have meters that fill up, and like when strength has a full meter, it attacks twice. When chariot, which is the tank, has a full meter, it raises the defense of everything around it for a short amount of time. And then there's hermit, who every time it fills up, it just gives you a mana, but it has low attack and low defense, low HP pool. Yeah. So you can't just like hope it survives. You kind of have to have it trailing along. But if it's there, everything becomes easier because it's just giving you mana, which means even if something dies, you can afford to recast it. So you have this incentive to put hermit on the field as soon as possible, but you can't do that. Like I tried doing it in replacement of the tank, and the game clearly didn't like that because I just died. Like it's just like, oh yeah, this is not fun in the sense of like this is impossible. And then there's like bonus quests, like the last round I played, it was like summon strength and not let them die. It was like I'm obviously going to summon strength, but actually getting to the end of that level without them dying was tough. But I still finished it, continuing the plot. But obviously, I would have gotten bonus upgrades, presumably, to make my cards better. So it's a fun loop, and basically what I like about it is you hit shift and you switch between 1x and 2x speed, or you can hit pause. And honestly, I think looking at the whole, like stopping immediately and like looking at the whole level and planning a vague notion of attack that you can then try and make happen, and knowing that at any point you can always hit pause and rethink, is really good. It has similar puzzle solving notions as Into the Breach, but obviously it's much more linear.
All this time you've been talking about.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, it's not that game. It's not that game, but it is fun. It's a nice little challenge, especially when they introduce new mechanics to figure out how to reason around them. And like I said, I'm pretty early in the game. Obviously, I'm just playing the demo, but I'm gonna probably try and finish the demo, just because I know the note they sent us was basically like, "Hey, so it's the demo, and the final boss of the demo is a little harder than maybe it should be. So take your time and level up before you go there. And also, here's a video to show you how to do the fight." And I was like, "Oh, now like the gamer asshole in me is like, oh, I have to try and fight this thing, right?
No.
Like I can't." I gotta know, like, what made them send this email and make a video. Like, someone complained to the degree that they're like, "Oh, quick, someone start OBS, beat this guy." And also, like, how hard is that level? Like, or is it just someone was whiny? Like, there's so much
don't
real life information that you can kind of glean.
Just level up. Just do the grind.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to. I mean, I have to say that, like, there's obviously a bigger intrigue because they premise the other witch who tasks you to solve this mystery as someone who kind of barely acknowledges your existence / doesn't really, like, begrudgingly allows you to be there, and suddenly she's like giving you $1,000 bonus and saying, "Hey, if you finish this task, I'll give you even more." And it's like, well, that's not a character for her. Something big must be afoot. And it's clearly saying, like, when you solve this mystery of the students, and it's obviously like going to be a big narrative shift, and I'm curious enough about that, just because there's enough world building. You also have, if you hit V, you go into witch mode, which is detective mode, right? It's just like Batman vision, and you can see if things are infected. And I keep forgetting to use it when I'm wandering about because I really want to know how much. I mean, I just found out about it like at the hospital, but now it's like, oh, well, can I just leave that permanently on? Why wouldn't you always be in witch mode? But yeah, so it's fun. I like the gameplay loop. I like the inversion of the tower defense. I've never really liked tower defense games, and it's not quite tower defense because
I mean, it's not balloons. Which I've enjoyed. I've dabbled.
Fair.
Let's say.
Because there's no regrowth, at least at this point, right? Like, the whole point of tower defense games, from the defense point of view, is you plan and distribute things and adapt to the waves as they come. And here, you're just kind of like, ideally, you're these 4 units which decimate all the towers, and you don't ever have to. There's no second wave, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if I have to recast a character, it means I've screwed up, but also I'm kind of just shoving them in the first wave. So, like, the analogy kind of breaks down, but you know me, I overanalyze things. I get what they're saying. So yeah, Affogato. It's fun and like it's supposed to come out sometime next year.
Yep.
I hope
2023.
I hope to see some refinements. The UI is a bit kludgy at places, but like not really. Like it's pretty polished as a demo. Like I said, there's just some weird translation bits. Like one of the worst offenders of the game is like when I found out that there are keys to locked out paths. It looked like a key was lying on my path towards one of the gates, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so it's a tutorial bit. I'll just pick up the key and then I'll use it on the next gate." But actually, it's so you know the enemy units that give you mana because they have a like little circle icon above them. And it turns out the way they did the map with the keys, it was an enemy with an icon of a key above him, but the key is wider than him, and it and because it's wider than him and at a certain angle, it doesn't look like it's floating over his head, and it's in the space of a space. So because it doesn't seem paired with
Right.
him, and it looks like it's on the ground, I thought you walk over and pick it up.
Yeah.
And like that's easily fixable, but that's what I mean about like there's these little things where it's like, oh, that feels really cumbersome. Also, like the way they describe the keys, they're like, you know, you pick up a key and then you can unlock a gate, and some gates might need more than one unlock, and then you in the first chunk you see one key, and then to the right there's two keys, and then there's another, but you have like three gates in front of you, and so you're like, oh, okay, so I have to go right, but actually the keys are tied to specific gates, and when you kill a guy you find out what they unlock, and it turns out the first guy unlocks all three gates I could see, but I had pre-planned my run to go right, and it turns out right was there's two other guys were like the bonus area if you really want to get all the collectibles, and so I just died right away because I only had 1-2 units when you're supposed to like finish the level with your whole pack and then come and attack these guys from a different direction, no less. And it was just like, oh, I see. The keys, like you have no control over the gates. You just kill a guy and find out what it does, which is different for planning. But of course, once you know this, it's fine. Like I said, it's just one of those things where it feels bad or feels weird when you learn it that way versus like the explanation being a little tighter or the signposting, you know, whether the explanation is like visual or gameplay wise. It just was like, I wish it, maybe it's because it encouraged me to like plan, and then I planned on not the right info. But again, minor things. The world seems interesting enough for me, even though it's not my, like, you know, these are plot lines that they are. But I'm curious enough, and like I said, there was enough interesting gameplay that I will at least try and get to that boss battle that apparently is currently unbalanced. And that's Affogato.
Nice.
Also, I really want to
obviously-
know the coffee part.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe just a name. Then.
No, I run a coffee
That's
shop,
just
and
it.
like I have made a coffee.
Oh, yes,
I had
yes,
to. I had to grind. Oh yeah, that was my one complaint on the coffee part
You have
was.
to grind.
Well, no. So it's like you look up the recipe, and it's like put coffee grounds into grinder, then the ground coffee into the espresso machine, then add water. And I was like, oh, it's not plumbed in a shop. That's ridiculous. But also, then it's like to finish Americano, you have to add hot water to your pulled espresso shot. But you click on the same icon, which is a jug of water that you just put into the espresso machine to fill up the Americano. I'm like, there is no way that's boiling water. You have fucked that Americano by your recipe. Come on. Your name is coffee. It's not a kettle. Like, you gotta have boiling water. You have to have hot water in the hot espresso, otherwise you fuck it up. Anyway,
Well,
that's Affogato. I will now stop.
yeah. I don't
If
know what
obviously-
it is. I think it's the isometric view. It just reminds me of a PlayStation 1 game, Devil Dice. It's completely different, but I was just looking up Devil Dice ROMs, and it's like,
Yeah.
that might have to be
Mm.
on the docket.
If people want to see you play it, it's in the VOD, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, it should be on the YouTube.
Stick around on Twitch or see the Twitch, and then you jump onto YouTube in a couple of days' time, maybe to see the playthrough. Yeah, nice.
And that's conveniently used up our hour between our ramblings.
Yeah.
Did anyone have any?
Sidetrack City.
I feel like I just talked for most of it.
Ah.
No, not at all. Not at all.
you guys don't have gaming news.
Conversation about New England, don't forget.
Yeah.
We did, yes.
Don't
Yes.
worry about it.
I'm going to have to
I was just gonna ask
jump out.
last thoughts on beer, and then we can fade away into the distance if there are any.
For me, I really like it. It's super soft. The flavour stuck around. Nothing faded. It kept that full flavour kind of throughout. Went back incredibly quickly. So yeah, I really enjoyed the 6 states from Good Chemistry. But it is a birthday beer, so I would imagine it's a limited run.
Yeah.
On what it's produced. So you could probably still get it now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, this is gonna come out Friday or Saturday. So you'll have time if you listen to us on the regs, which I assume you do, because the stats tell me very rarely do people listen to it 2 weeks out, and almost not at all otherwise. So you have time if you're hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Although we are getting more people on the YouTube to watch, so that's nice.
Nice.
Cool. Lucy, any last thoughts on your beer?
No, not really. Just a very good beer. Attica Great Brewery. Just another good one. Alright.
Yeah.
Pick it up if you see it. Yeah.
I will say the same thing, which is I also agree with Ben. I think this is the best. The Goats is the best of the birthday beers. The weird tanginess that I was getting faded quite quickly once I acknowledged that I was probably just looking for sweetness, but also I acclimatized to it, and I think that the malt stayed as steady even as my palate got used to the rest of the beer, which made it feel a little bolder. Just because everything else kind of was like on my palate, and this was still somehow not. Sometimes you can get used to tastes and they sort of fade in your recognition. The sort of main malty taste never did, so it kind of felt bigger by the end, which is great. That's exactly what you want on only a 7% Doppelbock. I thoroughly recommend this beer, and all of the Good Chemistry birthday beers, as we said. Yeah, so that's us for this week. If people wanted to tell you, Lucy, why what you should play next on your Steam Deck, how would they get a hold of you?
I will tell them to actually go read Ben's Rollerdrome review first, which is up on the site, and it's very good. And yeah, Juicy Loose 9.
And Ben, people wanted to tell you why you made the mistake not buying your PlayStation 5. How would they get a hold of you?
At Nova_47 on the socials. I'll just repeat what Lucy said. I did a Rollerdrome review. Go and read it on the site.
And if people want to email me to express their jealousy that I'm finally getting a Steam Deck and they might not be, you can reach me at the Omniarch. If you want to reach all of us, you can reach us at Tanked Up Cast on Twitter and Instagram, and of course you can visit us at outoflives.net to see all of the things we do here on the Out of Lives network. You'll see VODs, podcast episodes, articles about all kinds of pop cultural ephemera, and of course you can find us at Out of Lives network on YouTube and Twitch, where if you're looking at us, you already are. That's us for one more week. We've been Tanked Up. Bye!
Ciao!